Now on Newswatch, here is commentary with Editor-in-Chief of Newswatch, Mr. Daniel Da Costa.
Every day, the front pages of our 3 daily newspapers are splattered with numerous reports of crime and violence. These stories, according to the publishers, are important, what the people want to read, and at the same time boost their sales. The more heinous and brutal the stories, the more newspapers will sell. Yet another indication that all is not well with the Guyanese psyche. Crime has been on the upsurge for a few years now, dating back to the 2002 jailbreak, an independent investigation of which is yet to be held to ascertain who were the real masterminds behind this daring and well-planned escape by high-profile prisoners, most of whom are all now dead. Maybe we will never know the truth about the infamous breakout. Yet it seems that we have grown accustomed to the high incidence of violent crime in our communities, that we have resigned ourselves to someday becoming a victim of this relentless demon that has been unleashed on us. I cannot recall hearing about or witnessing a regional protest against crime. Most people have lost confidence in the police to protect them, and with just reasons. However, members of the force have become the scapegoats, the whipping horse of both the government and the populace, who blame them for not being able to protect all of us all of the time, even though we have been told on numerous occasions that there just aren't enough cops to go around the coast, much less the country. Annual recruitment drives seem not to attract too many young people eager to join a force already tarnished, battle-worn, underpaid, ill-equipped, and corrupt in many ways. The allegations made against members of the force are worn and tired. They are the products of our society, our homes and villages, but many of them have been manipulated, coerced, encouraged, and induced to delve into malpractices and corruption by us, those who employ them, and by their own needs and greed. The caliber, integrity, and effectiveness of the police force will not undergo a metamorphosis until our society undergoes radical transformation, until the politicians stop manipulating its members for their own ends, until it is given the independence, the latitude, the financial and human resources, the equipment, the firepower, and the scientific capability, and until it is seen by Guyanese of all races as an institution which can provide rewarding careers. Babies are not born criminals. Some are born into poverty. Some are born into broken homes, while some are victims of circumstances beyond their control. Thousands of young people drop out of school every year. Thousands complete secondary school and join the breadlines because they simply cannot afford tertiary education. Thousands graduate from university and tertiary institutions and also join the breadline every year. Successive administrations in the private sector have failed to open windows of opportunities and support for these skilled and qualified young people to earn an honest living, to remain in Guyana, and to make a contribution to its development. Poverty abounds in this dear land of ours, whether some of us wish to accept it or not, and poverty breeds crime and violence. The thousands of young people who are unemployed and frustrated are all susceptible to the numerous temptations around them today as they seek to stay alive and to satisfy their basic needs. The drug trade has been quietly spawning violence, crime, and gun running in a world of illegality where there is no law or order. The poor, the young and unemployed, the frustrated father or mother are all prone to breaking the law to survive and to provide for their families. We cannot turn a blind eye to suffering, poverty, unemployment, and social degradation and hope at the same time to solve the spiraling crime situation. As life becomes more and more difficult for many among us, the more desperate they will become as they struggle to keep themselves and their families alive. Crime cannot be dealt with or blamed on the law enforcement agency only. It is everybody's business, especially the government's, but also the religious organizations, the private sector, the NGOs, families, the education and social sectors. We cannot ignore the problems confronting our people, the total breakdown in morals, standards and law and order, and still complain about rising crime. we cannot be hypocrites or the proverbial ostrich. The longer we take to address the socio-economic problems and continue to fool ourselves that they do not exist, the more crime would escalate. As long as we continue to condone the drug lords and provide cover for them in high places, we will never solve the high-profile crime and violence that confronts us. While the politicians have been squabbling and fighting over petty differences and opinions, the drug lords and criminals seized the opportunity to organize and arm themselves better than the police force with their ill-gotten gains. Do we ever ask ourselves where the money comes from to buy all the expensive high-powered weapons and their accompanying expensive ammunition used willy-nilly by the criminals? Unless we all wake up from our slumber, and in particular those responsible for law and order, this crime situation and those that perpetuate it will soon consume us all. Then again, those in officialdom and with the means to curb the situation are protected and insulated from criminal activities and may be exploiting the circumstances for despicable political ends. Shalom and good evening.